Okay, hello everyone. We can start. This illustration is about Ivan the Terrible's daughter-in-law, Yelena. Yelena was sitting in her room at the Kremlin Palace. Suddenly, Ivan the Terrible entered the room and saw her in a thin nightgown. She was a pregnant woman and was very tired. She hadn't prepared for a meeting with Ivan the Terrible by wearing a layered formal palace dress before he entered the room. Ivan the Terrible went crazy and attacked her. Unfortunately, the baby in her womb died because of this violence. We can turn back time to save Yelena, but we can analyze our daily life according to the love your neighbor as yourself education. I want to explain the Slingshot Method today as a solution to these problems. First of all, you need a guide, like a teacher or a book. You can find one yourself, or you can read my articles. It should give you an ideal world perspective, food for everyone, safe shelter for everyone, and a small society that lives by the love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself, love. This guide is like a slingshot, and you are acetone in this slingshot. You should separate your life into 2 time zones, maybe night and day, maybe before noon and afternoon. This is your milestone for your improvement. Your guide gives you an ideal world perspective and throws you into the exterior world with pure and good ideas. But you see women like Yelena, some killers, some unjust rulers, and some ill and poor people. You will be disappointed completely and definitely. Now, you have a responsibility as a throne stone. You should return to the guide for purification. You should listen and learn about love your neighbor as yourself from your guide. If you do that, you will improve through every bad situation, every problem, and every evil event, and you will need to learn and live in a love your neighbor as yourself society more and more. If you accept being a stone in the slingshot, it won't be easy because every time your guide will throw you even farther away. This process is called correction or purification. You can escape to a mountain or a cave like a monk. In this case, your desire and abilities for love your neighbor as yourself will stay small. You will think you are at peace when you don't look at the external world. We must look at Yelena, and we should desire to return to our guide more and more. The guide pulls you back before throwing you far away with pleasure, energy, and a grown perspective for solutions. In this case, you need a small group of people for reading and feeling your common source, which is your guide. You can choose your guide and your environment but you cannot choose which bad experiences will come to you. Stand up and turn to your guide. This is the Slingshot Method in the ideal world building process of guaranteeing the three basic needs. Do you accept it for every day, for every moment? The throwing sequence is connected to your improvement. We can't stop evil, but we can use it as a tool for improving our guided small group of people. This is very important for our next generation, which will include people like Yelena and Ivan the Terrible. Osman Hamdi Bey was an Orientalist artist, and he wanted to explain in his painting, The Tortoise Trainer, that if a society feels hungry, they cannot lift their heads toward the light of the window. The tortoises symbolize all of humanity. We cannot say Osman Hamdi Bey criticized the Ottoman Empire. Rather, he wanted to illustrate this natural law with his brush. What is this natural law? Every one of us requires three basic needs. The tortoises were like hungry people who needed food. They were in an old yet contemporary place and needed safe shelter. They focused only on food, but not on each other through the law of love your neighbor as yourself. If we do not feel safe, we focus only on getting more food than others. The tortoises focused on food instead of the light and a neighborly love because they felt trapped in a struggle, like people facing economic problems. They were so slow to accept innovations. They were very hungry and competitive with one another. Can you be a tortoise trainer for the people of our time? Most of them are very slow, very hungry, very competitive and fearful. Can you play a flute for them? Can you paint an illustration for them? Can you write articles and speak languages for them? Queen Elizabeth I was born into royalty, but she never found a guarantee of food and shelter. She was a toddler when her mother was executed by her father. Her mother's name was Anne Boleyn. After that, Queen Elizabeth I was imprisoned by her sister in the Tower of London. She had no guarantee of survival. She left anxiety and saved herself with harsh decisions. She had to act strong and enforce strict rules over the citizens. She never trusted her environment because if she didn't execute someone, they could kill her. Today, we don't have kings or queens with absolute power, but we have leaders, diplomacy, and political parties. Their members feel like Queen Elizabeth I, more or less, and they want to secure their food and shelter. We cannot blame them, but we can correct ourselves while we build a new universal society. If we don't give the three basic needs to our children, they will start competing for food and shelter. This is not a surprise. Your daughter can be a queen, but there is no guarantee of food and a safe shelter for her lifetime. This was terrible for Elizabeth I, and this is terrible for your and our daughters. A toddler girl like Elizabeth I needs to know her mother lives in a safe shelter with plenty of food. Additionally, every toddler girl needs a good environment in a love your neighbor as yourself society. Solana painted this artwork during the Black Spain period in the 1920s. Most people lived in deep poverty, especially women like this choir women. They couldn't find enough food to feed themselves, and they had to eat garbanzo, namely chickpea soup, every day. You can see the dog at the bottom right of the painting. It represents a safe shelter and a loyalty which the choir girl couldn't find in her lifetime. Every painting and historical event should be explained from the perspective of the three basic needs. We have a lot of women like the choir women in the yellow dress, and we can build a society for every one of them. How can we do it? How can we do it? We have lands that no one uses. We have plants. We can build living spaces from natural materials, cultivate food for us, and establish a school for education about the meaning of life. What was the best education for the choir girls? Dear slave owners and every one of us, whether we are a slave or a slave owner, the love your neighbor as yourself education can guarantee food, safe shelter, and a good environment for every one of us. This is a marathon in our era. We can build a society for our next generation. We can start simply on our social media and in online conferences. I am a volunteer for it. I am a volunteer for it. You can start to support me in building a love your neighbor as yourself school through food from a food forest, safe shelter from natural materials, and the meaning of life. We are guests on this earth, and we can pass through this world while singing a beautiful song. While the original masterpiece does not feature a sheep, I felt compelled to include one in my drawing. Edward Munch was deeply haunted by the proximity of a slaughterhouse to the bridge in Oslo. He was a fragile young man shaped by the traumatic experiences of his youth. Having lost both his mother and sister to devastating illnesses, he never found sanctuary in a healthy environment. What defines a good environment for Munch? It would have been a world where he could eat without the echoes of slaughtered livestock, and live in a serene home protected from the damp, freezing air. In the painting, he covers his ears to block the horrific noise of the nearby killing center. He opens his mouth in a silent cry to explain how the moldy walls of their home led his family to perish from tuberculosis. Edward Munch's struggle reminds us that we all require the three basic needs: nourishment, secure shelter, and a wholesome society governed by the divine mandate to love your neighbor as yourself. I am preparing an English art lesson. This lesson consists of parts from my illustrations, related historical events, and illustrations of famous art paintings. Every one of them is connected to the three basic needs. Can you remember illustrations like this from your childhood? There were some very happy rabbits in safe living rooms like humans. We have a task: guaranteeing food, safe shelter, and the meaning of life for our next generation. We are preparing English, love your neighbor as yourself, love your neighbor as yourself education, lessons for adults. They will be a sacred generation. I have an aim. This aim is very big and clear, but it is not compatible with the current system and my ideals. I support food for everyone, safe shelter for everyone, and education about the meaning of life. This aim sounds easy, but some people can ask, what is the meaning of life? This question is very important for me because there is only one answer to it: love your neighbor as yourself. This is the meaning of life. We won't be able to love our neighbor perfectly as ourselves, but the meaning of life is this: namely, one should try to do it again and again. Do you remember illustrated stories from your childhood? There were some rabbits in beautiful illustrations with cozy clothes and living spaces like people in those storybooks. This is one of our main common needs. We know what our needs are: food, safe shelter, and a good environment. We want to live in a peaceful house, and we want to be sure that we have enough food. Our neighbors should be good people. At least they won't want to steal our food or shelter, and maybe our wife, husband, or our children. This is my mission. I want to explain what the meaning of life is through my illustrations that are inspired by real art paintings, historical events, or economic struggles. Sometimes I want to buy a carpet like the mother rabbit's carpet, but I give up immediately because I don't feel that this is my home, this is my country, this is my world. I need a reason, like all of humanity, having food, safe shelter, and a good environment where society lives by the rule: love your neighbor as yourself. This illustration is inspired by Vermeer's painting titled The Love Letter. Vermeer lived in Holland during the 17th century. While he was a respected artist, his financial situation collapsed due to the Franco-Dutch War in 1672, which caused a severe economic crisis. He lost his ability to sell paintings and fell into deep poverty and stress, which led to his death. He left behind a wife, 11 children, and the household in massive debt. Vermeer required a guarantee of food, safe shelter, and a stable environment. This environment should have been a society where people lived by the rule, love your neighbor as yourself. Every economic problem stems from a lack of guarantee for these three basic needs. In his paintings, there are beautiful dresses, servants, music, and art reflecting a world of comfort. But when the war came, everything changed, and he did not know how to manage a household economy in such a time of crisis. I created an illustration inspired by Vermeer because I want to establish a school based on the principle of love your neighbor as yourself. The school should be located within a food forest with a building to display my illustrations and their stories. We should describe every word, every painting, and every historical event through the perspective of the three basic needs. The four stages with the creator and the era of revelation. Why must we guarantee the three basic needs? The four stages of our relationship with God. Where are you? We are going through an extraordinary time when we can clearly define our relationship with the Creator. Here, together with you who hear these sentences, we are building the third stage, which is the reward and punishment stage. You came here among billions of contents. The most important reason for this is not that you like this video very much or that you decided to the accession of getting sad by hearing people pains. You could have turned your head to another video. You could have swiped up with your finger and passed it. But something held you. It was as if an invisible hand said, "Stop, stay here." Our goal is not to count the deficiencies and the mistakes in the world here and turn into melancholic people. Our goal is to bring the third stage, which is the reward and punishment stage, to life. Now, let me tell you why you are in the third stage and others are in different stages. First of all, let us say the four stages of our relationship with the Creator. First stage, single concealment. a very large part of the people do not have healthy food and a safe living space, or they see the injustices in the world and accept this is the life. This is the life God prepared for them. Sometimes a tyrant comes and takes even their last loaf of bread from their hands, or wars, poverty, economic crisis rise right before their eyes. Then they get a little angry, but they immediately suspect themselves, saying, God must know something. Did he send this tyrant perhaps? But they continue their lives trying to forget this event. This stage is called single concealment. Second stage, double concealment. Another part of the people completely rejects the existence of God. Everything is either a coincidence or the work of nature. And in this case, the strong must defeat the weak and do whether and do whatever it takes to continue their life. Or they think, since God does not exist anyway, then we must establish some authorities that will fulfill God's duties. And since each of them tries to bring their own understanding of God, which has nothing to do with guaranteeing the three basic needs to life, the processes of suffering and harming others continue. This stage is called double concealment. Their numbers are rapidly increasing in the world today. Those who are in this stage are approaching you. Who are the third stage? Fourth stage, reward and punishment. Third stage, reward and punishment. This is where you are. You see God's mechanism of reward and punishment. You know that if you treat the soil well, it gives you a good crop. You know that when you grow monoculture plants, the number of harmful insects increases. If you plant various plants, beneficial insects increase. You know that when we provide healthy food and a safe living space to all people, we will receive the reward for this as all humanity. You know that if you behave badly, bad things will happen to you. If you behave well, good things will happen to you. You are looking forward to making this visible and for all people to pass to this stage. Because you are a volunteer to go through the love your neighbor as yourself education. This stage is called the reward and punishment stage. I can continue from this. Yes, you are looking forward to making this visible and for all people to pass to this stage because you are a volunteer to go through the love your neighbor as yourself education. This stage is called the reward and punishment stage. Fourth stage, revolution. We will make the appropriate preparation on this YouTube channel and pass the rest of humanity, which is in the first 3 stages of its development, and ourselves to this stage. This stage is the revolution stage. Up to here, God was watching us from afar. From here on, we will up to here. God was watching us from afar. From here on, we will place him among us through cameras, chips, magnetic fields, and we will watch him too. Since we say, don't all these evils happen to us because our God is not among us, a system where we will not be able to make mistakes, even if we want to, where God is everywhere, will be born. Excuse me, I want to control my live broadcast voice. Please give me 1 second. Maybe I can control my headphone and my voice. Everything is okay. Okay. I can complete this part. Okay, we can continue this part. Since we say, don't all these evils happen to us because our God is not among us, a system where we will not be able to make mistakes. Even if we want to, where God is everywhere, will be born. We are building this transition bridge. Divine law does not change. The person who adds to this law or subtracts something from this law, the person who harms the functioning of this law is cursed. That is, what they do is instantly detected, and they feel exactly as if Adam and Eve were left in shame when they ate the forbidden fruit. Their face turns completely red, their eyes swell up, their hands tremble because they do not know how to explain this to God. All fingers point at them, all alarms ring for them. There is nothing they can do other than repenting and asking for forgiveness from the Creator. They will never steal someone. Excuse me. They will never steal someone else's food again. They will stay away from any behavior that will make their neighbor feel unsafe. The divine law and what the revolution stage will bring. This law is the guarantee of the three basic needs. 1. Healthy food for everyone, safe living space for everyone. 3. The meaning of life, which we call the love your neighbor as yourself education. This is the Creator's law, and we are not in the fourth stage right now. The answer to the question, don't all these evils happen to us because our God is not among us, is here. This stage, that is the revolution stage, is the stage where our bodies, which are born like gods, and our fake desires are clearly directed to the right purpose. When we pass to this stage, nothing that is hidden will remain hidden anymore. We need to start examining the fine line between our demand for privacy and our desire to hide the wrong things we do already. This is called intention correction. Let us observe why we cannot give up privacy, why we try to express this by shouting on social media as if it is our most important need. You will find a large mass that is against artificial intelligence and the camera control systems. Cameras, chips, artificial intelligence, and 3D printer technologies will make the divine mechanism visible. A way of life will be born where it is not possible to live in some privileges that others do not have by hiding. Even wanting to have more than others will be shameful. Even wanting to have more than others will be shameful. That is why everyone will know that if they want to live in better conditions, they must elevate all humanity along with themselves. This must have already started in you with a desire to do a job that serves to guarantee the 3 basic needs. When a person makes a mistake, they will feel it immediately. Immediately they will feel this as a shame, trembling, eyes swelling up, because they know very well what the love and the fear of God are. This new stage will not be a threat, not be a treat. It will be a purification, a cleansing, a mandatory ascension. Architects of the new world, the bridge builders. As people in the third stage, you stand here with a very important duty. I use these stage names when expressing the situation, but you can use different names if you want. The important thing is not what names we give to these stages, but that we are passing through the same field of logic and emotion. I paint watercolor illustrations, maybe you sew beautiful clothes, another writes a book, and another bakes bread. But throughout the day, only one fire. But throughout the day, only one fire burns in your heart. The fire of longing you feel for the revolution stage. You come here at the time of the live broadcast, and we remember the levels we forgot again, so that we do not think the world consists only of the emotion and logic at our own stage. We are preparing for the next stage. We will start this process in a sample, small area. The rest of the world will follow us. Those who are in the third stage are the ones who build a bridge for the next stage. These people are a small community carrying the same fire in their hearts. These people are a small community carrying the same fire in their hearts. Whether doing watercolors, baking bread, or sewing clothes, they are all included in this mission. Their duty is to prepare the ground for the revolution stage. This drawing shows Yelena. She was the son's wife to Ivan the Terrible. Yelena sat in her Kremlin palace room. Suddenly, Ivan rushed in. He saw her wearing only a light sleep dress. She was expecting a baby and felt exhausted. She was not ready to meet him. She did not have time to put on a heavy royal clothes. Evan lost his mind and hurt her. Sadly, the unborn child died from this attack. We cannot go back to save her, but we can look at our own lives. We must study the rule to love your neighbor as yourself. Today, I will teach the Slingshot Method to fix these troubles. First, you need a guide. This can be a teacher or a book. You can pick one or read my writings. It must show you a perfect world. A world with food. A world with food and a safe home for all. It must show a group living by neighborly. It must show a group living by neighborly love. The guide is a slingshot. You are the stone. You must split your life into 2 parts. Think of it as day and night or morning and evening. This is how you track your growth. Your guide gives you a great vision. Then it shuts you out into the real world. You go out with clean and kind thoughts. But then you see victims like Yelena. You see bad kings, murderers, and sick, poor people. You will feel deep sadness and shock. Now, as the throne stone, you have a job. You must go back to the guide to wash your mind. You must listen and learn about love again. If you do this, you will grow from every bad event. You will learn from every dark problem. You will create a loving society even more. Being the stone is hard. Your guide will shut you further each time. We call this step cleaning or fixing. You could run away to a quiet cave, but then your power to love others will stay weak. You might feel calm by ignoring the world, but we must face Yelena's pain. We must want to run back to our guide. The guide pulls you back to strength to the band. Then it fires you forward with joy, power, and new answers. For this, you need a small group of friends. You read and feel the shame guide together. Excuse me. You read and feel the same guide together. You can pick your guide and your safe place, but you cannot pick what bad things happen. Stand up, turn back to your guide. This is the slingshot way. This is how we build a world with the 3 basic needs. Will you do this every single day? Each flight makes you a better person. We cannot erase evil, but we can use it to train our small group. This matters deeply for the next children born. They will share a world with victims and cruel rulers alike. See you next time.